Welcome to this episode of Historical Secrets. I'm Haishin. Today, we will travel through time together to explore the long history of Britain. Research shows that Britain's history is indeed very long, from the Paleolithic era, the formation of the English Channel, the Neolithic era, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age in prehistoric times to the Roman period, the Anglo-Saxon period, the Norman Conquest and the early Middle Ages, the Plantagenet dynasty, the Lancastrian and Yorkist dynasties, the Tudor dynasty, the Stuart dynasty, the Hanoverian dynasty and the Industrial Revolution, the Victorian era, the early 20th century and modern Britain. From prehistoric times to modern Britain, this history is not only rich and colorful, but also full of changes and challenges. About 400,000 years ago, early humans were already active on the land of Britain. In Norfolk, archaeologists have found fossilized footprints from this period. Around 230,000 years ago, Neanderthals left their hand axes, and modern humans, our direct ancestors, migrated to Britain around 33,000 years ago. As time went on, the climate gradually warmed, glaciers began to melt, and sea levels rose. About 8,000 years ago, the English Channel was formed, making Britain officially an island. This geographical change had a profound impact on Britain's history. Entering the Neolithic era, from about 4500 BC to 2300 BC, British history reached an important turning point. The most significant feature of this period was the rise of agriculture. People began to plant crops and raise animals, transitioning from a nomadic lifestyle to a settled life. At the same time, we also saw the emergence of megalithic culture, with structures like Stonehenge and Avebury still astonishing us today. In addition, pottery-making techniques developed during this period, resulting in exquisite pottery. The subsequent Bronze Age, from about 2300 BC to 800 BC, witnessed the use of metal tools and further social development. Bronze was widely used to make weapons, tools, and ornaments. Meanwhile, trade networks expanded and exchanges between Britain and the European continent increased. The social structure became more complex, with the emergence of a noble class and the accumulation of wealth. The Iron Age, from 800 BC to AD 43, was a period when Celtic culture flourished in Britain. The use of iron brought more durable tools and weapons, promoting the development of agriculture and warfare technology. During this period, we saw the formation of Celtic tribes, such as the Britons and Belgae. They built defensive settlements known as hill forts, which became political and economic centers of the time. In AD 43, Roman Emperor Claudius ordered the invasion of Britain, marking the beginning of the Roman period in British history. The arrival of the Romans brought profound changes to Britain. They established cities, built roads, and introduced advanced water supply and drainage systems. Important cities like London, York, and Chester were established during this period. The Romans also brought their language, laws, and religion. Latin became the official language, having a profound impact on later English. Christianity also began to spread in Britain during this period. However, the good times did not last long. By the late 3rd century, the Roman Empire began to decline, facing the dual pressures of barbarian invasions and internal rebellion. In 410, Roman Emperor Honorius withdrew the last Roman troops from Britain, ending Roman rule. With the withdrawal of the Roman Empire, Britain entered a new historical stage, commonly referred to as the Anglo-Saxon period. This period lasted from 410 to 1066. During this stage, Germanic tribes such as the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes began to migrate to Britain on a large scale. They gradually established their own kingdoms, such as Kent, Wessex, and Mercia. Another important feature of this period was the spread of Christianity. In 597, Pope Gregory I sent Augustine to Kent to start systematically spreading Christianity. The Synod of Whitby in 664 decided to adopt Roman rather than Celtic traditions of Christianity, which had a profound impact on the religious development of Britain. However, Anglo-Saxon rule was not smooth sailing. From 793, Vikings began to invade England. Their first target was Lindisfarne Monastery, marking the beginning of the Viking Age. Viking invasions brought great turmoil to England, but also promoted the unity of various English kingdoms. Under the leadership of Alfred the Great, the English defeated the Vikings in the Battle of Edington in 878 and subsequently signed the Treaty of Wedmore, dividing the spheres of influence. In 927, King Athelstan unified England, becoming the first king of all England. However, peace did not last long. In 1013, Danish king Sweyn Forkbeard conquered England. In 1016, his son Knut the Great became the King of England, Denmark, and Norway, establishing the so-called North Sea Empire. It was not until 1042 that Edward the Confessor restored Anglo-Saxon rule. In 1066, the Norman Conquest completely changed the face of England. Norman Duke William defeated Harold II at the Battle of Hastings and became King of England. This conquest brought profound social changes. William I established a feudal system, distributing land to Norman nobles and requiring them to provide military service. He also strengthened centralization, establishing an effective tax system and judicial system. The Domesday Book, completed in 1086, was a detailed survey of land and property, reflecting Norman control over England. The Norman Conquest also brought linguistic and cultural changes. French became the language of the ruling class, having a profound impact on English. Norman-style architecture flourished, with numerous castles and churches being built. In terms of law, the jury system was introduced, becoming an important feature of the British judicial system. In 1154, Henry II ascended the throne, marking the beginning of the Plantagenet dynasty. Henry II was a strong ruler who restored and strengthened royal authority, rebuilt the central government, and limited the power of nobles. He also carried out important judicial reforms, establishing circuit courts and developing the common law system. However, his conflicts with the Church, particularly with Thomas Becket, Archbishop of Canterbury, became a significant event of this period. Henry II's son, Richard I, known as the Lionheart, was famous for his chivalry and participation in the Crusades. However, he spent most of his reign away from England, leading to political instability at home. King John, known as Lackland, lost territories in France, including Normandy, in his wars with France. He also clashed with the Pope, leading to the excommunication of England from 1208 to 1213. Under pressure from the nobles, King John signed the Magna Carta in 1215. This document limited royal authority, protected noble rights, established the principle of the rule of law, and laid the foundation for the future parliamentary system and constitutional development. In the following centuries, England experienced a series of internal conflicts and external wars. The 100 Years' War lasted from 1337 to 1453, with England and France vying for the French throne. This protracted war ultimately ended in English defeat, losing most of its territories in France. In the mid-15th century, England fell into civil war. The Wars of the Roses, starting in 1455, were a series of dynastic conflicts between the House of Lancaster, Red Rose, and the House of York, White Rose. This civil war lasted until 1485 when Henry Tudor defeated Richard III at the Battle of Bosworth, establishing the Tudor dynasty. The Tudor dynasty was a significant period in British history. Henry VII strengthened central authority, established an effective tax system, and encouraged overseas exploration and trade. His son, Henry VIII, was a controversial ruler who broke with the Roman Church, establishing the Church of England with the Act of Supremacy in 1534. Henry VIII also dissolved monasteries and confiscated church properties. His 6 marriages and the ensuing succession issues had a profound impact on British history. Elizabeth I's reign is considered a golden age in British history. She established the Church of England as the state religion, implementing a policy of religious compromise. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 secured England's position as a naval power. She also supported overseas exploration and colonization. During her reign, the English Renaissance reached its peak, with literary giants like Shakespeare emerging. In 1603, with Elizabeth I's death, the English throne passed to James VI of Scotland, who became James I of England, inaugurating the Stuart dynasty. This marked the union of England and Scotland. However, the Stuart dynasty's rule was not peaceful. Charles I's insistence on the divine right of kings and his conflicts with Parliament led to the outbreak of the English Civil War. The English Civil War from 1642 to 1649 was a crucial turning point in British history. The parliamentary forces ultimately defeated the Royalists, and Charles I was executed, the first and only time a British king was executed. Britain then experienced a period of Republican rule under Oliver Cromwell's Commonwealth. In 1660, the monarchy was restored with Charles II, but the foundations for constitutional monarchy had been laid. The Glorious Revolution of 1688 further solidified parliamentary power. William III and Mary II jointly ruled, and the Bill of Rights of 1689 established parliamentary sovereignty, marking a significant milestone in the development of British constitutionalism. This period witnessed Britain's global rise and the Industrial Revolution. George I ascended the throne in 1714, starting the Hanoverian dynasty. During this period, the parliamentary system further developed, and the role of the Prime Minister was established. The 7 Years' War, 1756 to 1763, solidified Britain's global dominance. However, the most significant changes occurred in the economic sphere. The Industrial Revolution, starting in the 1760s, radically transformed Britain. The invention and application of steam engines and textile machinery, the rise of the factory system, urbanization, and the construction of railways were all hallmarks of the Industrial Revolution. This revolution not only increased productivity, but also brought about profound social changes. The working class emerged, trade union movements arose, and urban issues became increasingly prominent. The 19th century was the Victorian era, during which Britain reached the height of its power. Politically, the Reform Acts of 1832, 1867, and 1884 gradually expanded suffrage, and the modern party system began to take shape. Economically, free trade policies promoted prosperity, and finance and service industries emerged. The British Empire expanded to its zenith, becoming the empire on which the sun never sets. In 1876, Queen Victoria was crowned Empress of India. In terms of social and cultural progress, the Victorian era saw significant improvements. The Elementary Education Act of 1870 promoted education, public health improved, and urban infrastructure was continually developed. Literature, arts, and sciences flourished, with authors like Charles Dickens and Thomas Hardy leaving lasting legacies, and Darwin's theory of evolution fundamentally changed the understanding of life and nature. Entering the 20th century, Britain faced new challenges and changes. During the reigns of Edward VII, 1901 to 1910, and George V, 1910 to 1936, international tensions rose. In 1914, World War I broke out, with Britain as a major Allied power, investing vast resources into the war effort. The war's devastation led to profound social and economic changes. In 1919, the Treaty of Versailles reshaped the European political landscape. However, the aftermath of the war and global economic turbulence set the stage for the ensuing decades. Edward VIII abdicated due to his marriage to Wallis Simpson, leading to George VI's succession. In 1939, World War II erupted. Under Winston Churchill's leadership, Britain became a central force in resisting Nazi Germany. The Battle of Britain in 1940 saw the Royal Air Force successfully defend against German air raids. In 1945, the war ended and Britain, as a victorious nation, participated in rebuilding Europe and the global order. However, the immense war expenditure and the rise of independence movements marked the decline of the British Empire. Post-war, Britain underwent significant social and economic transformations and adjustments in its international status. Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne in 1952, witnessing the transition from empire to modern state. In 1947, India and Pakistan gained independence, marking the formal dissolution of the British Empire. Subsequently, more colonies achieved independence, and Britain shifted towards relationships based on the Commonwealth. In 1973, Britain joined the European Economic Community, the precursor to the EU, further tightening ties with the European continent. However, this decision sparked long-standing domestic debates. From 1979 to 1990, Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher implemented neoliberal policies, reforming the economy, cutting public spending, and promoting privatization. These policies had a profound impact on the British economy, but also sparked significant social discontent and controversy. From 1997 to 2007, Tony Blair's leadership under New Labour saw a series of social reforms aimed at improving public services and modernizing education and healthcare systems. Additionally, in 1998, the establishment of the Scottish Parliament and the Welsh Assembly marked the beginning of devolution, granting more self-governing powers to Scotland and Wales. In the 21st century, Britain faced new challenges and opportunities, including globalization, Brexit, and the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2016, a referendum led to the decision to leave the EU, triggering extensive domestic and international discussions and debates. On January 31, 2020, Britain officially left the EU, initiating new negotiations on trade and cooperation with the EU. In 2022, the death of Queen Elizabeth II saw the ascension of Prince Charles as King Charles III. The new monarch faces challenges in maintaining the relevance of the monarchy while addressing various changes and challenges in modern British society. Now, we have quickly gone through the long history of Britain. This island's history has not only shaped modern Britain, but also had a profound impact on world history. By studying British history, we can better understand the formation of the modern world. Thank you for watching. I hope you have gained something from this historical journey. If you are interested in any specific historical period or event, feel free to reach out. See you next time.